Hi, hello, what's up, guys? I'm thrilled today to film from Kyoto, from the docks, to do my April wrap up and look at my view. And also, there is a man singing, so I'm super sorry if you hear him a lot, but I thought it was kind of cool to just sit beside him. So there's a lot of wind today as the previous video. Yeah, well, who cares? I have my tablet to cheat a bit today to talk about the books I've read, and I'm so excited because I read so many good books. So let's just jump into it. Let's talk about them. First, I started a series that I was gifted and I buddy read with Madav, and it was super cool. It's The Hunger Games by Susan Collins. I think you may know the story already, but just in case, this is the story about Katniss Everdeen. She's living in the District 12 in Panem, and the capital, which is the high society of Panem, to keep in line the districts, because there are 12 of them, every year organize the Hunger Games, which basically is each district sorting out randomly a name of a boy and a girl above, I don't remember what. I don't remember. I think you at least have to be 12 years old, and it's up until 18. And Katniss is used to hunt and everything to survive because the District 12 is the poorest of the district. Her sister, it was her first year of being part of the Hunger Games, which means that her name can be sought of, and she was chosen, so Katniss decides to volunteer and take her place, which is a thing nobody do apparently, and it's kind of a death sentence for her, because if you're from the first districts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have high chance to survive, but if you're from the lower district, you have very few chances to survive, because there's only one who can survive the Hunger Games, and it's basically just a survival game when they have to kill each other. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars out of 5. I gave it 4 stars mainly because of the writing, which was sometimes for me a bit easy, kind of repetitive, and what bugged me the most was the fact that because it's written from the main character point of view, Katniss, the author described too much her feelings, like I have to get out of the river and make sure that I don't freeze to death, because if I freeze, like, she's explaining too much and she's describing her feelings too much, some feelings that we can deduce for sure. It was kind of Bear Grylls modes, describing everything she was doing.
There's plenty of fish, if I can only catch them. But there are risks. Some fish are poisonous, others can attack.
So it was a bit too much for me just for that. But despite all of that, I loved the dystopian setting, the survival mode, the criticism of a higher society ruling everything and not caring for the lower class. Loved it. It's a young adult, so I think it was because it was the first book also. It was not that well written, but I'm sure it will only get better. So yeah, I'm really glad I started this series, and I plan to continue maybe this month. And sorry, I didn't give it 4 out of 5 stars, but rather 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. And the next book, oh damn, the wind. The next book I've read is Funny Story by Emily Henry, and oh damn, I wasn't expecting to love it that much. For now, it's my favorite Emily Henry. I loved the plot of this book. This is about Daphne, and she loves how Peter, her boyfriend, tells their story, how they first met, and now Peter has a new story to tell. It's how he left Daphne for his childhood friends, Petra, whom he said he had nothing for her and nothing would ever happen, and Daphne just moved out in his childhood town near a lake, and she kind of gave up everything for him and to settle with him without really realizing it. And now she has a new story to tell too. It's how she found a new place to crash, at the place of the ex of the new girlfriends of his ex-boyfriends. She's crushing at Miles, the ex of Petra's. Petra's the new girlfriend of Peter. Her ex. Does it make sense? So it may be sound kind of weird, but she's a librarian, so her job doesn't pay off very well, and she had to move kind of quickly from her place. May sound weird, but it's really well written. I loved the themes that were talked about in this book, how you can even being conscious of it let go of a lot of things in your life, like friends and places you live in, and how you construct your new world all around your partner. And when something happens and you have to break up or divorce or anything, you are left with nothing. And I loved it so much. And the chemistry between Daphne and I will not say who, but you might pick up who is. I love the chemistry. And Mile, one of the main characters, is so precious. I love him. So yeah, I wanted to read something very light for the springtime, and it was perfect. I didn't expect to read more romance books, and then it happened. I know, but I'm so glad about it. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. One of my favorite book of the year for sure. And I wouldn't think it would be romance. That's right. Well, next, a disappointment for this month was The Bullet That Missed by Richard Osman. Man, the second book in the series, in the First Day Murder Club series, was my favorite, and it even was a favorite of mine last year. But this book, somehow, I wasn't thrilled by it. The plots didn't really catch my attention. I was kind of like wanting it to end. The new characters that were introduced were not that interesting also. I don't know. The plot felt quite flat. But overall, I loved to be still reunited with the characters, the gang. Not my favorites. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, which is still quite good. But I'm really wondering if I could give it less. I don't know. Not sure about that. Because somehow, just shortly, the plot is about a case that was not resolved for a decade. And they have to meet a famous person to grab and pick some informations. And at the same time, Elizabeth received a mission from someone. I don't want to say too much, but it's rather she kills someone or she gets killed. But yeah, kind of. It's not exactly that, but I don't want to say too much also. And it felt like, yeah, not for me. I wasn't gripped to the story. I kind of expected the end also, which is something quite rare for me if you know me. Not my favorite. Next, I've read I Who Have Never Known Man by Jacqueline Harpman. And this one, guys, was a 5 out of 5 stars. Such a short book, but such a good one. This is about 30 women who are trapped in a bunker in the basement, and they don't know why. They don't remember how they get there, but it's been also a decade. I don't remember how many years it's been. And the main character we have the point of view from is a child. She's rather a teenager when we read the story, but she was a child when she got in the bunker, and she doesn't know anything else from the bunker. Like when the women are talking about specific foods or just bikes or anything, she's like, I don't know what it is. Even if you described it to me, I would just kind of get the image of it, but would not really picture it. So yeah, it was so interesting to read from her point of view. And I don't want to say too much. I want you to get into this book without knowing too much. It's better this way, I think. And I can only say that it's kind of a literary science fiction book. And it's not the best spring book to read, but I think it's good to read whenever you want during the year. I loved this book because the main character, despite the fact that she doesn't know our world, is so relatable and she's so honest, and I love her personality. Yeah, it was really easy to read from her point of view and to root for her. So cannot recommend this book enough. 5 out of 5 stars. It was such an interesting and unique read, and it's a short book, so I cannot recommend it enough to anyone. Another hit, I've read Mrs. Ice Sandwich by Mieko Kawakami. It's my first book from Mieko Kawakami, and it's not the last for sure, because I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. It was so good. Also a super short book, easy to read, but you have to bear in mind that this is not a book that is plot driven, but rather character driven. This is about the main character. I think we don't really know his name. He's a 4th grader, so rather young, and he's fascinated by this girl that is selling sandwiches. I don't think it's a convenience, and he's fascinated by how precise she is with her gesture and how she moves, and also because of her eyeshadows that is kind of a blue eyes color. And I love how humble and raw and honest and naive this book was, and how mundane. This is such a sweet story. It's very short, as I've said, and not much happens, but I love how it explores the feelings of someone and how it explores how the woman in his life can also inspire him. And I loved the character of Tutti in this book. I don't know, it just got me in a way and changed me in a way, I think. So cannot recommend it enough if you're interested by the Japanese literature and if you're interested in how humans' feelings can be portrayed and you are not bored to read about no plot, only raw human feelings. So go for it if it might interest you. The last book I read in April was The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, and this felt like such a hug, a cozy hug. It's such a heartwarming story. It's a cozy fantasy, so it's a genre with very low stakes. So there's not a huge world building, there's not heavy stakes. It's really about if you want to feel like you were hugged, and it happens during summer, so it's perfect to read in spring or summer. This is about Kiela and her sentient spider plant Kaz, her assistant, and they're librarians, and they're taking care of very precious spell books in the Allyism library when a revolution hits and they put fire on the library, so they save their favorite books and they decide to flee to Caltri, which is the hometown of Kiera. But she didn't return there for a long time because their parents were kind of seeking for a better life, and her plan is to get there and be able to talk to no one because she doesn't really love people. She's kind of uncomfortable with them, keep her head low and meet no one, and to make sure basically that no one knows she's there. But unfortunately on a small island it's not possible. I don't know how she thought that it could be, and I don't want to say too much, but you follow her adventures from there, and it's just so sweet and so cozy if you love little cottage core on remote islands, small villages, and also the fact that gender is discussed in this book. For example, for Kaz, and also especially for Meep. Meep and Kaz were so precious. I loved the writing, basically, even though Kira is not maybe the easiest character to love, but there are other characters you will love in this book for sure. So yeah, if you love cozy books with not heavy stakes but really endearing characters and vibes, if you love books with vibes, this is perfect for you. I did not give this book 5 stars because I felt that the plot was stretched sometimes, and that it didn't need to be that long, especially with the thing going on with the inspector. And if you've read this book, please, I would love to discuss this with you and know how you felt about it. But yeah, this was so good. So that's all the books I've read. I've read some mangas too. I think I'll wait before talking about them, but as usually I've read Diona for sure, and I read A Sign of Affection, still loving it, and I'm still reading Monster also. So yeah, a lot of good books. This was such a good month. I'm so blessed with all the things happening to me in Japan and the such good books I'm reading, and I'll give you some news for my trip in Japan in the next vlog, I think. But yeah, that's the wrap of April, guys. Also, I really want to thank you for being 500 around here on this little corner of internet. I'm thrilled about it, so thank you so much for that. And as always, guys, thank you for clicking, for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed the video. Therefore, to see you on the next one, and most importantly, as always, thank you for being nice. Really appreciate it. And that's the clap of the end. I have to say bye.